No, no, up my granddad's allotment. So it's the 20th of May today, and I'm going to have a bit of a tidy up, and I'm eventually going to get some tomatoes in. But I'll show you what the plot looks like. Right, as you can see, we've had a couple of weeks of rain and a little bit of heat, so weeds are up again. So do a bit of trimming today. Asparagus, this is second year asparagus, doing well, sending fronds up. I'm not obviously harvesting, right? Yeah, so I'm not obviously harvesting this year. Got a little fig tree there which I need to plant up. Strawberries, doing well, starting to get some fruit on. Red currants, maybe white currants actually. In the greenhouse, this is today's job because I've got to get in to plant my tomatoes, but as you can see, the grapevine has taken over. But it's got loads of grapes, but you know, I'm going to have to cut them back. 1, 2, 3, you know, four sets of grapes on one bit is not good. So I'm going to do that. I'll show you when I'm doing that. Here's Winnie. So yeah, strawberries are okay. I'm going to have to get these weeds out. This is last year's chard and this year's beetroots, so it's starting to take. I planted that a couple of weeks ago. Again, just some different beetroots, and need a bit of a weeding in between again. Early on, what peas starting to get there. There's a courgette in the middle there. Frost mate are getting that a bit. More peas. Carrots and buckets are doing well, as is my potatoes. So these are first earlies, these 4 here. Apples, this is a Spartan apple, got an abundance of apples coming on, and same with the cherries. I don't know if you can see there, got loads of cherries. It's the same at home this year, I've got loads, just seems to be a little bit, I don't know, slow. Don't know if you can remember my last video, but half of this tree had no buds at all and half had started, but it's starting to catch up. It's just a little bit slow. Gooseberries, you see there, plenty of gooseberries on, coming up nicely, and the pear. I don't seem to have any pears, fruit as yet. That's an apple. I mean, there's an apple. There is, I don't know, there might be a few coming, but not as advanced as the pears. Don't see it. Oh. The damsons. So yeah, everything's starting to fruit up, looking good. So these are my main crop potatoes in straw, doing all right. More strawberries. I think this here is a boysenberry from what I remember. Never had that before. Again, look at, I mean, all this needs trimming again. So we have got a few collies out, just in random bits in between the lavender. Across this side again, these are turnips, I think. Yeah, and a few turnips in there as well, next to the raspberries. More gooseberries on this one. Didn't think I would get any on this one because this is transplanted this year, but seems to have taken okay. And black currants. Gonna be weighted down with black currants this year. Gonna cut all these dead wood off once it's fruited, because it's not dead, but it's old wood, because black currants fruit on old wood. So once they've fruited, all this new stuff will be for next year. I've harvested the last of the rhubarb. Just need to feed that, give it a bit of love. This bed I'm just gradually filling up with compost and stuff. This is going to be where my 2 giant marrows are going to go. And into the greenhouse. See the jungle in here. So figs, doing really well. Don't know if I'll get any. They are getting soft. I've been debating to take this out for the last couple of years because they're not ripening, they're just rotten. And someone said, I've asked for a bit of advice, and it's ventilation. So it does get quite hot in here, which is great, but if it gets damp as well, that's what causes them to rot off. So I've thinned everything out, got rid of a lot of the greenery to give them a bit of space. I've got the windows open, and I think from now on, if we're not getting any more frosts, I'll start and keep that back door open as well. Right, just some of the plants going on here. So I've still got more broccoli and stuff to go out. I potted these up a few weeks ago. Some chard, some squashes in there. These are beans. I had really loads of problems with beans. So I think all the beans that I've had are a couple of years old, and I'm just not getting anything. I've sowed them twice now. I mean, 2 out of these are Blue Lake, you know, and beans normally shoot off, no problems. A couple of courgettes there. These are something I got a few weeks ago, got given. They're climbing nasturtiums. In the form, they come from a white tuber, a bit like an ochre sort of tuber, and they're edible. The tuber's edible as well, apparently, but they are climbing nasturtiums. Obviously, you can eat the leaves and the flowers the same as you can another nasturtium, but they come with a tuber that you can also eat. So first go at them, and all I did 2 weeks ago was put the tuber in, and they've shot up. So I think I might put them over that archway. Cut some of that clematis down. Tomatoes looking good. These are, I got these at a plant swap a few weeks ago, but they're a tomato, but they've got a really furry leaf. Don't know what the variety is, so they're a bit, you know, hit and miss what we'll get, but we'll see. A few little rhubarbs there, which I'm sort of nurturing as well, which is, there were just little bits of crowns that, you know, came in the bags that you buy. Some perpetual spinach there to go out. These are my giant marrows. Need to get them out because they're starting to yellow. And the rest of my tomatoes, you know, got loads. I think it was 28 different varieties I've got. So I'm gonna do the far greenhouse today, get that cleared up, and I might even get some in this bit here set in a way. But again, look at the weeds, man. Trimmed, needs trimmed. These are just some cuttings I've been taking. These are figs. Don't know if they are shooting or not, but again, these are some black currants just in water. So I'll get some of them potted up today as well. So, and there's some gooseberries and red currants there as well. Right, so loads to crack on with, but first job, let's get the kettle on, and I'll probably do a little bit of strimming first while the weather's still here, because there's forecast for rain. Right, see you in a bit. Right, back in the greenhouse, so I'll just show you what I'm doing here. So if you can see, this leader has got 2 bunches of grapes on, so I only want one bunch, so I'm going to take it off there and leave it at that. I'm just going to work my way around. Anything that's not got any fruit on comes out, so that can come right out. This one's got one bunch on there, so I'm going to take that out there, take off any sort of excess leaves. This one here, that's the bunch there, so this one, first bunch there, so any of the leaders can come off. These grow massively, you know, a couple of inches every day, unless you keep on top of them. So right, I'll set you up on a time lapse and show you what I'm doing. Right, there you are. That's the first cut. See, it might seem a bit drastic. This one, I've took nearly everything off. So this grapevine's not going to fruit this year. There is a couple of little ones, but I've taken them off just to give it a bit of a rest, because it did have another leader across there as well, which I cut back and took out. So it's obviously stunted a little bit, so I'm going to leave it and let it rest this year, not take any fruit this year. I'll just take the fruit off this side. This is about 4-year-old, this one now, but you can see, I mean, there's still odd ones to take out, you know, behind the door and that, but I'll take like all of these out and thin it out a bit. But yeah, that's it. I'm going to leave these on the floor to dry out and then bring the shredder over so I can shred them. So I'm not going to be doing the tomatoes in this side today. I'll just do them in the main side. Right, so I'm going to clear this bed and set it ready for me tomatoes. I use, in the greenhouse, I have tomatoes in buckets with holes in the bottom, so I'll show you them. This is just a raised bed. They're not really going to be growing in the bed. The roots will go down into it, but not a great deal. This is just off my fig tree that I cut down the other day, just letting them dry so I can get the shredder on them. That's the covers off the seeds. So this is just a raised bed, which is made up with like sort of Hugo culture. So it's got, you know, bits of sticks and brambles that have been cut down and all sorts in there. It's not particularly good soil. It is compost. Every year when the tomatoes are finished, I'll just chop them and drop them into there, let them rot down. So it does eventually build up to, I don't know, maybe about 4 foot high. So these are my buckets with holes in the bottom. So what I'm going to do is set them out, set them into the ground, and then I'll fill them with the compost. And so that's it. I'm going to get 6 in this raised bed. So all we're doing is just digging the hole out, You can see it's really dry, but once I start watering it, it take up. So that's all we're doing. It's just sinking them in. Once we start watering, this will start to take up some water. I mean, if you can see, it's getting a bit darker as I dig, so it has got a little bit of water held in it. But this has not been watered since last year, to be honest. So yeah, 6. See, the soil's a little bit darker. Six tomato plants in here, more than enough. It's not a great deal of height, so I need the smaller sort of bush tomatoes to go into here. Otherwise I'll not get very many trusses. The cordon tomatoes I'll put in the buckets in the ground, so I've got a bit more height. So I don't know how other people do theirs, but traditionally this is the way I've done them. It's the way my dad used to do them. I think a lot of people in the northeast tend to do it this way, to be honest, rather than grow bags. Well, when my dad did it, grow bags weren't available, so this is the way we did it, and it saves on, you know, compost, because you're only filling the pot with compost, but the roots can still go down and seek the water. Right, compost. So this is clover compost, pot and bin compost. That's what I use all the time if I can get it. I prefer clover. It is peat based, but you know, get it while we can. Some people might argue against it, but you know, it is the best. And if you want decent quality tomatoes, then you've got to use the best. That's the top curled up to the top on that one. Vincent! Sorry about the dog barking, but there's someone coming in the gates. Hey! One of the things when you're the first one in the gate, you hear everybody, you see everybody, but so does the dog. So what I'll do you'll see when I come to pot the plants up, but I'll tie the string around the plant and string it up to here. Saves using bamboo canes, and you just wind the plant up the string as it grows, and it sort of supports itself. You can see it's good compost. It's really dark, fluffy, very little you know, clumps in it, no plastic. before I got this, and I had to pot up some flowers that came through the post. I went to Asda and got some compost there, and it was just horrendous. Couldn't use it. It was just fluffy bits of bark. I couldn't. It wasn't even soil. It was just fluff. Looked like dried out cardboard or MDF or, you know, fibrous. But that's probably 2/3 of a bag for 6 pots. Right, I'll leave you there and I'll come back when I'm doing some potting on. Right, so I've got my 6 tomatoes ready to go in, and all I'm going to do, they're in sort of decent sized pots anyway, so they're ready now to, you know, the roots are coming to the bottom, they're ready now to go into these pots. So start with this one. So this one is a Christmas grape. Take a bit of the soil out in the middle. I want to bury them fairly deep. You see the roots are to the bottom. So I'm going to go probably a couple of inches deeper than what you are at the minute. And I've taken a few of the bottom leaves off. You probably can't see this because it's probably out of shot. I'll do the next one. So almost to the bottom of the pot. This one is Gardener's Ecstasy Vine. Again, the tomatoes are right to the bottom. Make sure I put the pots with the right ones. We'll take these few leaves off the bottom. I'm going to bury them past there. So what I'll do, I'll feed from the centre and I'll water from the bottom. So this next one is Lulu's Best Ever Beef Steak. Instant. Again, the roots up to the bottom. Take a few of the bottom leaves off. So I'm going to bury them sort of up to there. This next one is Cherokee Purple. This is a lovely tomato, this one. I've had this for a couple of years. Again, good roots on it. These are all heirloom tomatoes, so none of them are F1s, they're all heirlooms, and I tend not to take off all of the side shoots. I tend to leave them and let them go and do their own thing. I had a bit of an experiment with it last year. I didn't do any of the you know, taking the side shoots off. I left everything on, let them grow natural, because they are an heirloom, and had really good results last year doing it that way. There are some cordon tomatoes which I probably will, you know, like Gardener's Delight, Alicante. I'll probably put them in the other little greenhouse where the grapevine is, so I will cordon them and I'll keep, you know, take the side shoots off them. But these ones I just let them do their own thing, and they manage really well. So this one's one of our mystery tomatoes, one with a really hairy leaf. I'm not quite sure what it is. but it's going to get a chance. Again, I'm going to take a couple of bottom leaves off. It was from a plant swap. I got some, I just potted them up, but it's come up with some really good roots, so it gets its chance. I just thought it was a bit different, you know, the texture of the leaves are different. So right, this last one is an emerald green envy. That's an oval cherry tomato. Again, take the bottom leaves off. And needing popping on now. These are, they're getting to that point where they're starting to need a bit of feed. Right, that's my first 6 tomatoes in place. Now I've just got to sort my labels out, and that's them done. Right, I forgot to show you how to put how to do the strings. So it's just normal garden twine. I tie it loosely round the bottom of the plant. Some people bury it in with the plant. I just tend to tie a little loose loop around the bottom, big enough that when it grows it's not going to sort of constrict it, no. So it'll tend to hook on the first truss. You just wind it round in between the leaves, and just as it grows you just wind it round, and then it ties off to a string up here. That's it, and as it grows you just wind it round the string. Right, I'll do that with the rest of them. Right, that's it for today. Gonna head off home. Done a canny bit. I've even potted up some of my my cuttings from my red currants and stuff, just to use a little bit of compost I had up. But Winston's knackered. It's too hot for him. It's too hot for him. So we're gonna head off. Ready for home, Winston? Eh? Ready for home? Right, see you on the next one.